National Bureau of Standards. Thank you for joining us, Ms. Sylvia.
Thank you, Philomena. Good morning.
Good morning. So earlier on, you actually phoned us trying to discuss Uganda National Bureau of Standards, the expectations that people have from it as a body that ensures that consumers protect high quality standards, and also a body that really enables us to have highly competitive products on the market. So just before we get into all these discussions, maybe you could tell us exactly what is Unbs, what is its mandate?
Actually, Uganda National Bureau of Standards is the apex body in regards to regulating the standards. And I just want to make a clarification that what we deal in is the substandard products and not counterfeits. So our mandate is, one, to develop standards, promote the standards, and enforce the standards to ensure that we have safe products for the consumers. Yes.
Okay. Now you do actually talk about standards, something that is very interesting. Now we would love to know, how do you measure the required standard? What is the criteria that you use as Unbs?
Of course, after we've set the standards, the specifications and the requirements are implemented by the manufacturer. So as Uganda National Bureau of Standards, we have a product certification scheme or process where we go to the industries where these products are actually being manufactured from, and we assess the production systems to make sure that it is meeting the requirements of the standard. And after we have confirmed that, that's when we issue out the quality mark.
Okay.
And now for the consumer, that is what they can see. It is something that you can relate with. So for you to be sure that Unbs has assessed the products and can confirm and assure you that when you use that product, it will be safe. You'll just have to look for that Unbs quality mark. And this mark is accepted here in Uganda, but also recognized at the regional level. So if you want to export within the ESC countries, then we have already notified the respective standards regulators about our mark. So if a Ugandan product wants to access the regional markets, they will just need this quality mark and the permission, which is given in form of a letter confirming what particular product that Unbs has actually assessed and therefore can be put on the market. Okay. The other aspect is on the imports, because yes, we have the domestic products which we assess through our certification process, but we also have imports. These are products that are actually just imported into the country. So we have a program which is called a PIVOC program, and under this program you are required to inspect these products from the country of export. I'll give an example. If you're importing from China, we would require you to subject those products to the requirements of the Ugandan market, and these are the requirements of the Unbs. So we have contracted agents in these respective countries that after you have been able to consolidate your cargo and you're sure this is what you want to ship into the country, then they will be able to sample those products, test them, and be sure that they are meeting the requirements of the Ugandan standard. And that's when you're allowed to import into the country. And when you get to the entry points, we work along with the Uganda Revenue Authority at the customs area. So our inspectors will now verify to see that actually the certificate that our contracted agent issued is authentic. And if you, for any reason, you have avoided to go through the PIVOC program, you'll be required to do what we call destination inspection. So we shall sample your products, seal them, and have them tested in our Unbs laboratories. So how we ensure and test these products is through our international accredited laboratories in Boyogere. And these are food safety laboratories whereby you're sure any results that you get from the Unbs laboratories will be recognized internationally. So that is how we ensure that we have safe products on the Ugandan market.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, with all these systems in place, you would actually think you really are we appreciate the efforts because we've seen several operations being carried out. But then also at the start, you did talk about making sure that you get rid of all the counterfeit products of the market and the substandards. But right now, it's very evident that we still have more of these products on the market. Why is it happening? Where is it not going right? Why do we still have most of these products? Because every other day we see several operations being carried out by Unbs, and very many shops are being closed, very many buildings are being put down because of all these substandard material that are being used. Why is this happening?
Surely, as I have said, we ensure that products on the market are meeting the standards, but we also appreciate that we are dealing with business people. Yes. There are people, business people who are willing to comply with the requirements of the standards, but we also have the stubborn ones that would do that would actually do anything to avoid Unbs. So our enforcement activities are geared towards fishing out such culprits. And yes, just yesterday we were in the market trying combing out the steel products, the iron bars, the cement, the iron sheets. So we do this as part, it's a monitoring strategy by the Unbs. Yes, we are doing the certification, and actually we are glad right now when you look at the number of products that we have certified to date. It is really great work done. But we also know that there are some business entrepreneurs who may want to evade the standards. Yes. So those are the people we look out through our enforcement exercises, the market surveillance operations that we do across the country. Actually, we have expanded to cover the regions. We have a Western region office in Mbarara. We have a Northern region office in Gulu and Lira. We have the Eastern region offices in Jinja and in Mbale City. So we do this. Well, we are really sure that, yes, we have certified, we are undertaking the PIVOC program, but also we do not want to take anyone for granted. Okay. The unscrupulous dealers are out there, and those are the people we look for through our enforcement activities. All right.
Now, we've talked about the goods and the products, but also we need to talk about the service delivery. What is the Unbs policy for high-quality service delivery?
Actually, at Unbs, we have what we call quality management systems. And this is a certification process that you will undertake to be sure that the processes and all the systems that you're using within your facility are meeting the standards. Okay. I want to give an example of the security services that most people are using. We have some companies that we have certified. We have assessed through the entire process that if you hire company A and B, you will be sure that your security will be granted. We have actually also gone into the food safety. Okay. I think that's the food safety systems to make sure that regardless of what products comes out of your industry, the systems have been put in place to ensure that the quality is not compromised. And very recently also we ventured into the education system, and we've looked at institutions, for example, the Uganda Management Institute. We have assessed them and confirmed that yes, they are following the certification and management system, and therefore they will be able to give you the required services. Okay. And I also talked about the issue of standardization. So you find that in our standards development department, we have a whole division that is dealing with management systems, and these are services standards. We are trying to make sure that, yes, we have goods and products, but we also offer services. So we also want you to offer your services within the requirements of the standard.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, Miss Sylvia, I do believe that you do have some success stories. I mean, it cannot all be that bad. So I would really love to know, as we come to the end of this, I would love to know some of these success stories and also the commitment coming in from UNBS, especially now that the economy has been fully reopened after 2 years of being under strict lockdown.
Yes, as UNBS, we really pride a lot in collaboration because we know we cannot do this alone. So we have very good working relationships with our stakeholders in what we call a sector approach to promotion of standards, whereby through the private sector, we cluster business enterprises within their sectors. I'll give you an example. We are working with the alcohol industry to make sure that all these products that are in the market are actually meeting the requirements for self-regulation. So if you know me and you, we are in this business, and you identify someone who is actually not doing the right thing, you'll be the first person to share the information with the UNBS. And we've registered a lot of success as an institution through such an approach. We're also working on the same under the steel sector, whereby the manufacturers come together, we mobilize them, we sensitize them, we educate them, and at the end of the day, they are empowered to monitor standards amongst their peers.
Yes.
And should there be someone who is compromising, they will be really come out first to alert the UNBS.
Okay.
We also have a success story on the MSMEs, the small entrepreneurs. We have opened up a department that is there to deal with the MSMEs. And we know as the economy is opening up, the opportunities are there, but there's been generally a lack of awareness. Many of our entrepreneurs actually do not know that UNBS can be a good partner, can work with you through your business at the level where you can really be able to enjoy a bigger market. So our success story with the MSMEs is that we work with them through their small groups, and we are able to train and do capacity building programs unique to the needs of that subsector, and we have done this successfully. You have seen the local manufacturers coming up. If you look at the issue of sanitizers, before we went into COVID, no one knew that they could really make a lot of money out of making sanitizers. As we speak now, over 150 MSMEs are actually in business manufacturing sanitizers. So we've given out free standards, we've given out free capacity building sessions and trainings just to make sure that they know the basics and also come up and enjoy the benefits of a wider market. We also have a program where if you come to the UNBS as an association and you have a need, we subsidize the cost of certification. So you'll find that a big entrepreneur will be paying around 1 million to 1.5 million. But if you are a small enterprise and then you come to UNBS, this cost is subsidized as low as 500,000. Yes. And I don't want to undermine the accreditation of our laboratories. And actually this year we are celebrating 20 years of having laboratories within Uganda that are accredited, that if you ever bring your product to the UNBS to be tested, you can access the European markets, you can access any market in the world, because our laboratories operate on procedures that have been accepted internationally.
All right, I think that's a milestone worth celebrating, and indeed, congratulations. Well, you heard it from the horse's mouth. That is Ms. Sylvia Kirabo, the spokesperson from Uganda National Bureau of Standards. If you are having second thoughts of actually being part of the unscrupulous people who bring substandard and counterfeit products on the market, I can tell you that UNBS is watching, and eventually you will be taken where you're supposed to be. Well, that's it from today's morning newsreel. We have the press review that will be coming in, and after that we'll be taking you to the roads to see the situation, what's happening, and later on also Mollen will be coming in with the climate news and also the forecast. Good morning, I am Philomena. Mastiko.
Raising voices.
As a community member, I think we need to change in the way we act in response to violence against children. In my small way, I can be a leader in preventing violence in my community. I promise to work with my neighbor to create violence-free homes and communities for our children.
In this time of COVID, what is your promise to the children of Uganda? Because a violence-free childhood is everyone's right. Raising voices.
Start the year off with my Airtel 4G smartphone. You get to enjoy free 1 GB data valid for a month and 100% bonus data every month for 3 months at only 250,000 Uganda shillings. This includes free data spread over 3 months worth 86,500 Uganda shillings, making the effective price of the 4G phone 163,500 Uganda shillings only. Visit the nearest Airtel shop and get one today. Airtel, the smartphone network.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way, because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body, because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, now with just 20 minutes to the top of the hour, we want to take you through what's trending in the daily. So, and of course, I'm holding the Daily Monitor, and where the big statement says a state of torture. Now, of course, they also give you a recount on what particular personalities come out to say. A statement by His Excellency the President of Uganda, who says it's therefore clear that torture in order to extract confessions has 3 possible mistakes that may interfere with fights against crime. Of course, a statement from the EU delegation, the Attorney General, and of course the Uganda Law Society. Now, exams will be based on new curriculum, says UNEB, and of course they also give you a photo of some of the people who allegedly were tortured. Now, deals, they will give you tenders, deals to look out for still in the papers, and of course also how scientists split COVID-19 vaccine money. Now, South Sudan accuses Uganda of hiding rebels in refugee camps. Okay. Well, Philo, also looking at the new vision from your side.
And taking a sneak peek into the new vision today. 1 trillion Uganda shillings ready for NSSF midterm, and also at in her vision how older women can actually deal with menopause. And we also do have an integrity icon over there. That's the ex-minister Lokodo, who was eulogized. And also telecoms speak out on mobile money charges, and also the district land boards on the sport over leases. And in the big picture there, you can actually see how the dry spell is hitting Toroko.
Well, now we're looking at what's in the Daily Nation as well. Well, we have the big headlines again, also still about elections. And now Uhuru said to endorse Raila at party NDC. Now, how will this happen? And of course, they'll be giving you the background to that and much more of the stories in the papers. But of course, many things to look out for. is how the political tensions are rising there in Kenya. But something interesting in the papers, and of course we did see in Uganda, where we saw the National Unity Platform members who stormed out of office a week ago, still consistently want to carry on with this particular move, with intentions that maybe this will cause alarm and interest in the mind of the head of state to think about the issue of torture and of course unlawful detentions, as they do claim. Now, yesterday also they went to give a presser their headquarters there in Kamocha, where they were so lethal in statements. But many questions also surround some of these allegations. And as we did do a story some time back, not much has been done about these stories of human rights and of course cases. But who's to blame? That's the question for all of us. But before that, we get to of course, we get into looking at the poll question and what your responses have been, of course, with Philo, and who will be taking us through also. Later on, we'll be taking us through traffic. But for now, let's look at the poll question.
Absolutely, and I will just echo it. Online classes become the new normal, even when the economy is fully reopened. And from you, Tony Kent Chazea, saying, well, basing on the fact that the normal was then, they can only be the new abnormal option. Okay, all right, thank you so much. And you also say, anyway, how many can access online services or perhaps can afford such? If made cheaply available with stable internet and power, maybe yes, but only as a new abnormal. Well, that's a new term right there. And from you, Mpindi Shiraim, you're saying it is a good idea, but facilities aren't yet in place. If we still have areas with no network bar, then it's not yet time. And of course, from Ivan Shaka, you're saying unless reckless and awkward taxes are scraped off on data bundles. And from you, John and Banks, you're just saying it's possible. I mean, why not? And Adrawa Charles Young is saying it is good as a remedy to classroom teaching. And Amanya Gary Asha, you also come in to say it's a good idea, but only applicable to only stable families. Well, we are still going on. Make sure that you keep bringing in all these responses because we will be able to get into them. Now, getting to the situation on the road. Well, one thing for sure is that we've, like I told you earlier on in the morning, accidents have been quite a higher. There's been an increase in accidents that have been registered on the road between the 31st of January and 6th of February. Now you can see that that is quite a very small period of time for us to have had all these accidents, some of them being fatal, having quite a high number of victims. Now you can imagine what will happen, especially now that everybody is back on the road. We are getting back to default setting where we had all the pedestrians on the roads, we have the border riders, we have private cars, we have public transportation. There is a whole lot happening on the road situations right now. So you need to be a little bit more attentive. You need to be more careful. If you still have pending things that you need to do to your car to make sure that it is stable and safe on the road, maybe it is about the time that you go and make that visit to the garage. Now, getting into this road situation on this Tuesday morning, well, it looks like I don't really want to say manageable because we have several red spots, we have several orange spots. Now the road users are clearly many and they're building up in several of these areas. But I will take you right from Centenary Park. As you can see, if you are joining that main road, if you are using the Ginger Highway road from Centenary Park, there are some green patches, there are some orange patches, there are also some red patches. Clearly the traffic is crazier because also, number one, maybe because it is a junction. There are many cars that are connecting to this road, from Yusufulule Road, from Namongo Road, from very many other roads. Also those that are trying to get from Station Road, they're all trying to access this road. So that maybe explains why the traffic buildup is getting intense as you go all the way. But if you continue still, there are some green patches there, the green lines, as I always tell you that it shows you it's possible. So if you are leaving the city or getting into the city, that is why you see these arrows allocating that if you're leaving the city, you could still use them. If you are also getting into the city, it's still a possible route for you. But again, you also need to be ready because there are some red patches ahead all the way. Now, clearly this road is always very, very busy. But as always, I give you alternatives to avoid using this busy road so that you can be able to make it in time to where you're supposed to be. And well, like I always say, make sure you wake up slightly earlier than always if you never want to be a victim of all this traffic if you're trying to access the city center. Well, that is it from the traffic updates, but Mollen Kenyena is also coming in to give us the climate information, and she'll also be telling us the weather forecast for different parts of the country. Good morning, Mollen.
Well, a very good morning to you once again. Here with the weather, but also climate news, and sometimes it's not good news. I have become over time the bearer of bad news, but you know what? From bad news we also get good news. Yeah.
Well, what is it going to be like? Do we have some good news, or it's always usually bad news from you, Mollen, or just a warning? I don't really want to categorize it as bad news, but there are usually warnings. Do we have any this morning?
Well, the good news is that our weather is actually faring well. If you look at what we had yesterday, especially here in Kampala, it was just chilly, cloudy, no much fast, it's not too sunny, so that is good weather, and most likely we're maintaining that even today, so that's the good news. The bad news is coming in from some of the extreme weather events that we're seeing across the world, but at least for now here in Uganda we can enjoy the good weather and enjoy it while it still lasts, because the rains are also coming very soon, and that is the March to May first major rainy season across Uganda. But well, we'll also take it on from what the Biden administration is looking into lately. And so far, they have also announced that they have a new system to capture carbon dioxide, and that is in their fight against climate change. Now, one of the most thought for activities that companies are looking at and governments are resorting to is capturing carbon dioxide, or capturing carbon and then storing it. Now, this morning, a news that came through from the Biden administration press indicates that they have actually had a plan that is to make sure that the carbon dioxide that is getting out from the industries is being actually piped through and taken into storage. Now, that is also in their quest to actually reduce the carbon dioxide emissions, and that is also to cut down on their greenhouse gas emissions, as they always look at it, especially every year that we consider looking into cutting more of the greenhouse gas emissions. Now, if you look into what the Biden administration is also talking about, is they actually want to make sure that most of these storages are actually in a place where you're just getting the carbon, storing it, and you're not reusing it. So the question is then, how is this going to be feasible over time? Because you're looking into the fact that most of this is going to be at a larger scale. So that is where it becomes scary. But I think the Biden administration is doing much better if we compare it to the past administration that we had, where the president didn't want even to know about climate change. He actually pulled out, Trump did pull out of most of the agreements that were made on climate change globally. So when President Biden did come through, he had to rewrite the wrongs, starting from the very beginning of it, that is getting back into the Paris Agreement that was agreed upon in 2015 globally, and making sure that we fight against climate change. So when we see such things, at least they are trying. And more of what they did also yesterday was the president did say that they are availing monies, and that is totaling up to $725 million US. Now, what is this money going to do? It's going to help clear out some of the coal mines that were there in the past. Now, this is also in the effort to make sure that they clear out all the fossil fuel plants that have been available since, way back, because we are now transiting into clean energy. But what does that mean for the plants that have been there in the past, especially with coal mining? Now, this money is also taken off the budget that the US had done in terms of reforming coal mining across the country. But if they are considering also destroying some of these plants, that is a good move. It means that they're actually moving away from the use of coal to more clean energy, and this is where you put your money. And I'm glad that the US is actually continuing to do that and aiming at cutting greenhouse gas emissions over there. So that is something good. But also what is not good is the extreme weather events that are happening across the world. So far, we're looking at Ivory Coast. Now, Ivory Coast is a top producer of cocoa in the world. But it's not good news right now, because they're looking at weeks of dry weather, and that has affected their production over time. Now, what the farmers are saying across Ivory Coast, that is, Ivory Coast is in the west of Africa, is that there has been continued dry conditions across the country. But you look into the fact that that whole area within the tropics, closing over to the Western Africa and within Central Africa, it has been associated with dry weather for over time. Unfortunately, most of the areas that have the cocoa farms in Ivory Coast have been worst hit, and they are talking about 3 weeks without rains at all. Now, what is at stake here is that the beans start to reduce, that is the cocoa, also the size of the cocoa beans that are being produced over the area. Now, usually their season for harvesting and make sure this is in the cocoa is in the market is between April and September. So now they are looking at getting there when they actually don't have good products. Now, most of the traders are rushing in to buy the good beans, to buy the good products, but that is going to be short-lived, because you're looking at such an extended time up to September. If the sales are going to be there, then you're looking at most of the losses for farmers across Ivory Coast, and this is what we're talking about when we look into the effects of what extreme weather can do. Now, also farmers did tell the news over there that for the longest time they have actually had, because they knew this is a dry season, usually that stretches from November up to March, so it's a dry season, but there are always rains that come in. Only this time they haven't had those rains. So recently it has been more and more dry across the area, and that is what is mostly affecting cocoa production across West Africa. And when you look at countries like Ivory Coast, where they have had to actually rely on cocoa production and have it on global markets, so this is quite scary in terms of production over that area. But we also want to take a look into the weather that is happening across Uganda today, and tapping into our satellites. Most of the areas are actually starting off with quite some pleasant weather, but we'll go ahead and take a look into our forecast and see the weather that we're expecting for this morning. Now, we start off with the central part of northern Uganda. That is where we have Gulu, Kitgum, Padel. We are forecasting a mix of clouds and sunshine, and also starting off at a warm 28 degrees centigrade. Now we look at the eastern side of Central, where we have Woblenzi, Burudi, Nakaseke, Ruwero. We do have Nakasungula in that category. We are forecasting a mix of clouds and sunshine as well, starting off with a warm 27. Those conditions are expected to continue into the afternoon. That area is still equally dry, and we could be looking at more hot conditions later in the day. What is hot again is also eastern part of the country, where we have Soroti, Katakwi, Amori, Akumi. We also had those sunny intervals yesterday, but it looks like today is going to be a repeat of yesterday. We're looking at also a mix of clouds and sunshine, starting off at a warm 27. That will only be getting higher, and we could be looking at more of those sunny intervals even later as the day progresses. Now, the eastern side of Lake Victoria, we do have Tororo, Iganga, Jinja, and Busia. We are forecasting isolated showers. Now, those will also be starting off at quite a pleasant 26 degrees centigrade, but that system is likely to clear as the day progresses, so the rains will only be short-lived for the morning, but afternoon will be clearing mostly into intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions. Now, Mount Elgon Highlands, where we have Mbale, Bududa, Buko, and Sironko, we are forecasting intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions, starting off at a quite chilly 24 degrees centigrade. Now, that area most likely will also be dealing with sunny intervals later in the afternoon. We do expect temperatures to remain equally low, also considering that effect of Mount Elgon. So that is what is most likely to keep things a little bit down in terms of temperatures for that area. But you also look into the fact that most places within the country right now are dealing with mostly intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions. And northern Uganda continues to be dry, also for eastern Uganda. So those are the areas that are still likely to maintain those sunny intervals and mostly high temperatures. But for the areas within the southern sector, especially across Lake Victoria, we're still having those clouds around, and that helps to keep temperatures a little bit down. But looks like today we're starting off with mostly intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions. Now, we are likely to have a little bit of rains, but also those are light rains, especially for areas around Lake Victoria, southwestern Uganda, but also not reliable enough. Now, we're still looking forward into getting that forecast for March to May, the first major rainy season, and we'll be looking at it and looking into what places are actually most likely to have those early rains, so that you know the periods to actually do your early start into farming. Well, that is it for today morning. We do have also Good Morning Uganda agenda coming up, and sports. Ruben will be here to take you through that. But please do continue to engage with us. We are also streaming live on YouTube. That is UBC Television Uganda. But you can also keep up with the updates. That is at #UBCGNU, and also our Twitter handle is UBC TV Uganda. My name is Mollen Kenyena. I want to wish you a wonderful morning. Stay with us.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
COVID-19 is still here with us. As Owechitiwa Peter Maiga, the Prime Minister of Buganda, states, let us all take the necessary precautions.
Self-medication is always very dangerous. We should leave medical matters to the medical personnel. It's only a healthy population that can produce wealth. And if you want to work for your well-being, you must care about your health first.
Because of the new COVID-19 circulating variants like Omicron, it is very important for all of us to be fully vaccinated with 2 doses of the same vaccine type. It's only those getting Johnson & Johnson who receive only a single dose to be fully protected.
Even after vaccination, continue to adhere to all SOPs by wearing a mask properly, covering your mouth and nose, washing your hands regularly with soap and clean water, or using an alcohol-based sanitizer, maintaining physical distance of at least 2 meters from others, and avoiding crowds. Echa COVID-19, chija kugwa. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF and partners.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite shows.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Our Ugandan story isn't a new one. It's not about where we come from. It's about what can be accomplished when we're working, living, and growing together. It's about speaking the same language, the language of progress. We're Ugandans building Uganda with Ugandans, skilling Ugandans and developing competencies required in the oil and gas sector, partnering with Ugandan businesses to achieve greatness. We're here to build because at the end of the day, we're truly Ugandan.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.